welcome to you who are just joining us on Facebook. We are 3 minutes away from meeting Dr. Tanushree Mondal from India. She has been working as part of she has been contributing to the work of the COVID-19 Peer Hub, immunization staff from all over the world who came together to keep vaccination services going wherever they are. And today we're going to talk about vaccine hesitancy and specifically what Tanushree Mondal has been doing about it, where she works and how she's done it in the past. This, of course, is especially relevant during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we look forward. We'll see you in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. A quick peek at Tanushree Mondal, and of course it'll be Charlotte Mbuh from the Geneva Learning Foundation who will be leading this interview with Tanushree. So see you in just over 2 minutes. And we are, of course, keeping an eye on your comments and questions. Very much look forward to those. See you soon. Welcome to this new edition of the Ideas Engine Live with Charlotte Mbuh. Charlotte, how are you doing?
Hi, Reda. Hi, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm doing great, and I'm so glad that we have a new guest today, and that we are restarting with the Ideas Engine Live after 2 weeks of break.
That's right. So Dr. Tanushree Mondal is our guest. She has been part of the COVID-19 Peer Hub since July 27th. And we're going to be discussing today, for those of you who don't know yet, we are starting on Monday a new peer learning exercise in the COVID-19 Peer Hub focused on vaccine hesitancy and more accurately on how immunization staff have moved individuals and groups from vaccine hesitancy to acceptance. So applications are closed. You can see the deadline was the 1st of November. Vaccine hesitancy is the reluctance or refusal to vaccinate despite the availability of vaccines. And the questions we'll be asking in the coming weeks: can you think of a time when you, as an immunization professional, helped an individual or group overcome their initial reluctance, hesitancy, or fear about vaccination? And that is precisely what we're going to be talking about with Tanushree Mondal, who has a very interesting experience to share in today's session. Charlotte, over to you.
Thank you, Reda, and greetings to you, Tanushree Mondal, and thank you for accepting our invitation. So before we go into you sharing your story on vaccine hesitancy, moving from hesitancy to acceptance, can you just introduce yourself? tell us who you are, where you work, and what you're doing.
Thank you, Charlotte. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who is present over here. Thank you, Dr. Reda, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Myself, Dr. Tanushree Mondal, I am the Assistant Director of Medical Education to the Government of West Bengal, as well as I'm also an Associate Professor in the Department of Community Medicine at Medical College, Kolkata. So I'm looking after both the academics as well as the administration, and community medicine and public health is my passion.
All right, thank you, Tanushree. I do hope that our guests on Facebook could get you clearly. Now, tell us, as you are part of the COVID-19 peer hub, but we are focusing on vaccine hesitancy, and I want you to share with us your story, your experience of that in India.
Oh, thank you very much. I would love to share my experience regarding vaccine hesitancy. Now, before I want to delve into
And
vaccine
sorry, I have to
hesitancy,
interrupt
this
because we're
topic.
having trouble hearing you, Tanushree. If there's a way for you to speak louder or closer to your microphone, that would be very much appreciated.
Thank you, thank you. Am I audible? Better?
Yes, better now. Just speak as if you were presenting in
Okay.
front of a large auditorium.
Yes. So thank you very much. I'm so pleased to present in front of everybody about my experiences regarding vaccine hesitancy. So before I delve into the experience proper, I just want to give one background of West Bengal, India. In the year 2009, India was having 50% of all the polio cases around the world, and in a matter of 2 years' time, in 2011 on January 13th, India had the last wild polio virus case. And after that, there was no indigenous transmission. And in 2014, after a gap of 3 years, India was declared, free from polio. So, with this context, I would like to, open my, experience. Yes, we had certain pockets in West Bengal, and to mention that the last wild polio virus case in India was detected in West Bengal. So obviously, West Bengal played a major role in the elimination of poliomyelitis. There were certain pockets who were very resistant. There were certain communities who were very resistant. Why? Because they had the thought in their mind that this polio vaccine led to a loss of vitality, fecundity, and they thought that it was a kind of a conspiracy against them that was made in order to see their community become extinct. So it was something. It was very tough that moment to uh, come out of this idea, to take these people, community, out of this idea. So what we did is that we went to the community. We had a lot of help from partner organizations like World Health Organization and UNICEF, who collaborated with the government of West Bengal as well as the Ministry of Health, and they wanted the medical faculties of the different teaching institutions to work hand in hand with these public health officials in order to mitigate this problem, because it was really nagging problem. So what happened is that we went into the community, into the resistant areas, as part of the surveillance team, and what we found was a horrific experience, because what really happened is that the people, they were not ready to talk, first of all, and there were instances in the remote past that the community members, they actually were pelting stones to the immunization team. Also, they were they were locking these immunization officers in a room for a day or so. And it was really horrific because the immunization team felt really scary and insecure. So in
So,
such a setup,
Tanushree, Yeah, please forgive me for just for interrupting you, but I want to find out from you. Can you tell us one particular instance where you had to intervene for a family or a community to end up accepting to receive the vaccines?
Yes. So I think where they were very resistant. The female staff was still, I mean, the female household members, they were still better. They were talking, but they were not introducing their child. So the head of the family was a religious leader. Now we targeted this family at first because if we can make a change in this family, then the rest will follow. Because this is someone whom the other persons, they follow. It was so this was very much important. So what we did is that since there were many CBOs and NGOs working constantly, so we had taken the help of them. Now the members of certain these CBOs and NGOs, they belong to the same community, and that really gave an ace over because they could relate their problems. They were thinking that okay, that was their own problem, and this is how we delved into. And as part of my counseling skills, I tried to build rapport with them slowly but steadily, not in a day because Rome was not obviously built in a day. So keeping that in mind, we were persistent enough, and we went ahead.
Okay, so Tanushree, if I may ask, what was the key message that you gave to these people to get them to change their minds?
Okay, so the key message was we had a certain instance in that particular area where there was a child, a girl child of 2.5 years, and since she was suffering from gut infection as well as diarrhea from a very childhood, and she was not given that polio vaccination. As a result of it, suffered from fever, paralytic polio, and swelling and other suffering. And it was not only a suffering to the child but also a suffering to the parents. Later on, the parents, they coaxed the neighborhood they motivated the neighborhood to to immunize their own child. So citing that very example, I tried to motivate them, and I told them, I kind of empathized with their things, and this is how we try to make a difference. And since it was into their neighborhood, the next neighborhood, so it was very easy for them to relate, and they could change. They could. This really brought a change.
I just
Okay,
want
thank
to
you very much.
mark a pause here, just to acknowledge some of the folks who are following this interview, Charlotte, that you're having with
Yes.
Dr. Tanushree Mondal from India, who's sharing her experience on how she has challenged vaccine hesitancy and helped individuals and groups move from hesitancy to acceptance of a vaccine. So hello to Mutwali Adam, Emmanuel Musa, Jafar Sani, Mercy Onu Peters, who says greetings to you all watching from Nigeria. Great to hear your experience here, Dr. Tanushree. Well done. And then Martha from Mbuh in Cameroon has just joined. Back to you, Charlotte.
All right, so thank you, Reda. And Tanushree, if I just, for clarity and for the understanding of those who are just joining us, you were talking about how in the face of fierce hesitancy against the polio vaccine in West Bengal, India, you were able to work with teams on the field, work with the community, talk to the community and get them to accept. And you just shared a very interesting experience with us. So what I want to find out from you is, how long did it take you from the time you got notification of vaccine hesitancy to the point of acceptance?
Oh, that is a very interesting question. I mean, it differed from family to family. But if I just concentrate on this particular family, then I would say that since I targeted the female members of the family, so it was less problematic. On the other hand, since the male member was a religious leader and he was very staunch, on this idea, so we took the help of the other religious leaders in the area and try to find out whether such thing does exist in the religion or not. when it was stated that it doesn't exist and it was a kind of a rumor to feed upon some people's interest. So we brought those religious leaders and tried to counsel this particular religious leader. And yes, it took a little bit of a time. So approximately it took 15 to 30 days to for this particular family to change from the more resistant one to the more less resistant one to the more compliant one. And it was a big game changeover because this was a certain family whom others emulated. So obviously that really helped us to make a change in the other families as
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Tanushree. And I just do hope that those who are watching on Facebook are actually getting the message fully that you're passing across. Now, we are in the context of COVID-19, and there is a lot of talk out there about a possible COVID vaccine that's going to be introduced in the coming days. So what do you think can be done now or should be done, you think that you have to begin to put in place so that the situation, if this vaccine is rolled out, you will not find yourself in a situation similar to that of West Bengal in the past years?
Yes, it is difficult to comment right now at this moment, but it is true that when you introduce a new vaccine, the acceptability comes into play. So obviously, there would be a fear in the minds of the common people about the side effects or the other details. So obviously, this will be a little bit of a hindrance. But if the advocacy is well done through BCC, behavior change communication, as well as information education and counseling, I guess that we will be able to achieve the target.
So if you're talking about counseling, I still want to be able to pinpoint the message. What is the message that the people need to hear? What is the compelling message, information that we need to get to the people so that they will easily accept?
Okay. This is a very, very interesting as well as tough question, I would rather say. It is actually, the people have to understand that, it is the life, life resides in their own hands. So if they give, if the decision making is given to some other person, then that can be, detrimental. So they have to make their own choice. And sometimes what happens, we often, follow the crowd, but it's not always good to follow the crowd at times. So we have to also go to our gut instincts, our gut feeling, and what our gut feeling would say, we have to follow that. So there's a word, there's a saying in Bengali that I would translate in English, that if there is no one to with you, just tread alone. So the message would be like that, that if there is no one with you, but still then you have to tread along bravely for the better cause, for the better outcome.
So I think it's important,
Okay.
Charlotte. I know it's tempting to connect the dots between hesitancy of the past and hesitancy with respect to a safe, secure, and effective COVID-19 vaccine and its eventual introduction and rollout. I think we need to be cautious there in terms of how we connect those dots. We can't assume that what worked for polio vaccine will apply, and we need to think through what the implications are. Tanushree, can you tell us, and this would be my last question for me, what do you think is going to be different about COVID-19 vaccine introduction and the hesitation, the reluctance, the questions around demand for that vaccine? What do you anticipate? Is there anything that you fear, that you think is startlingly different about this one?
That is a very good question. Yes, the first and foremost would be the cost. So we never know, because since it would be introduced, it will be the cost. Number two is that people would be much more interested in the side effects, because it is something to do with the virus. So obviously, people would like to know if that will lead to a long-term, a side effect or not. So these, I guess, there are few of the things that will come into the minds of the common people. So it needs a lot of introspection from all the sides, and then we can achieve our target, I guess.
Great, thank you. Back to you,
Right.
Charlotte.
Thank you. That was the last question for me too, Tanushree. And really thank you for accepting the invitation. And thank you, Reda. Thanks to everyone that has been with us and following from Facebook for Facebook.
Thank you, Charlotte, Mbuh, and Dr. Reda for giving this wonderful opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you both. And let's have a round of applause for immunization staff who are challenging hesitancy and helping individuals and groups move from hesitation to acceptance, who've been doing this work for years. And we're going to be facing new challenges perhaps more or certainly differently than in the past.